Good day, fellow citizens of our global community. I stand before you today not merely as an expert, but as a messenger of a truth that is both simple and profoundly urgent. We are going to have a crucial conversation about a substance so fundamental to our existence that we often take it for granted, the water we drink. My message is direct and born from a synthesis of decades of scientific research and heartbreaking public health data. The consumption of unboiled, untreated water from uncertain sources represents one of the most pervasive, preventable, and dangerous threats to human health on our planet today. This is not an opinion, it is an evidence-based, scientific fact, and over the course of our time together, I will elucidate precisely why this is the case, arming you with the knowledge that can save lives, protect your families, and foster a healthier world. To understand the danger, we must first look at what lurks within a single, seemingly clear drop of unboiled water. Water in its natural state is a universal solvent, meaning it dissolves more substances than any other liquid. This is a wonderful property for the planet, but it also means that as water travels from its source through the ground, through pipes, or across surfaces, it picks up a cocktail of invisible passengers. These passengers are the core of the danger. We are talking about pathogenic microorganisms, biological agents of disease so small that millions can exist in a single sip. Let us categorize these invisible threats. First, we have bacteria. These are single-celled organisms, and while many are benign or even beneficial, the pathogenic varieties are ruthless invaders. Scientific studies, such as those meticulously compiled by the World Health Organization, consistently identify bacteria like Escherichia coli, specifically the O157H7 strain, as a culprit in severe, often bloody, diarrhea and kidney failure. We have Salmonella species, which cause typhoid fever and salmonellosis, diseases characterized by devastating fever, abdominal cramps, and profound dehydration. We have Vibrio cholerae, the bacterium responsible for cholera, a disease that can drain the life from a healthy person through violent vomiting and diarrhea in a matter of hours, leading to death by dehydration if untreated. Then we have the viruses. These are even smaller than bacteria and are responsible for some of the most contagious waterborne diseases. The norovirus, often called the winter vomiting bug, is notoriously resilient and can survive in water for weeks. It causes explosive outbreaks of gastroenteritis, sweeping through communities with brutal efficiency. Hepatitis A virus attacks the liver, leading to jaundice, severe fatigue, and abdominal pain, with effects that can linger for months. Rotavirus is a leading cause of severe, dehydrating diarrhea in infants and young children worldwide, claiming hundreds of thousands of young lives each year before the widespread use of vaccines. And then we have the parasites, often the most complex and stubborn of these pathogens. Protozoa like Giardia lamblia and Cryptosporidium parvum form protective cysts that allow them to survive in the environment for long periods, resistant to conventional chemical disinfectants like chlorine. Giardia causes giardiasis, an infection of the small intestine leading to prolonged, foul-smelling diarrhea, gas, and malabsorption of nutrients. Cryptosporidium, or crypto, causes cryptosporidiosis, a particularly dangerous illness for individuals with compromised immune systems, such as those living with HIV/AIDS or undergoing chemotherapy, and can be fatal. The peer-reviewed journal The Lancet Global Health has published extensive data showing that these diarrheal diseases, overwhelmingly caused by contaminated water and poor sanitation, are a leading cause of death for children under the age of 5 globally, second only to respiratory infections. Each one of these statistics represents a child, a life cut short, a family shattered by a tragedy that was, in most cases, entirely preventable. The mechanism by which these pathogens cause harm is a direct assault on our gastrointestinal system. When we ingest them through unboiled water, they bypass the initial defenses of our body and reach the gut. Here, they multiply rapidly. Some, like certain strains of E. coli and Vibrio cholerae, produce potent toxins that cause the cells lining our intestines to secrete massive amounts of water and electrolytes, leading to the profuse, watery diarrhea that is the hallmark of these diseases. Others, like Salmonella and Shigella, actually invade the intestinal wall itself, causing inflammation, ulceration, and the bloody diarrhea characteristic of dysentery. The consequences extend far beyond a few days of discomfort. The primary killer in these diseases is dehydration. The rapid and severe loss of water and essential electrolytes like sodium and potassium disrupts every cellular function in the body. It leads to hypovolemic shock, where the heart cannot pump enough blood to the vital organs. The kidneys fail. The brain swells or is deprived of oxygen. For a small child, whose body water composition is higher and whose reserves are smaller, this process can be lethally swift. But even for those who survive the acute infection, the long-term consequences can be devastating. We have a condition known as environmental enteric dysfunction, a chronic inflammation of the gut caused by frequent, often subclinical, exposures to fecal pathogens in contaminated water and food. This condition, detailed in studies from the Journal of Pediatric Gastroenterology and Nutrition, leads to a condition called malabsorption. The inflamed gut is unable to properly absorb nutrients, even if the person is eating enough food. This results in stunting, impaired growth and development, both physically and cognitively. A child may survive a bout of diarrhea, but the chronic exposure to contaminated water can permanently alter their life trajectory, leaving them shorter for their age and with reduced cognitive potential. This is a silent, insidious theft of human potential, directly linked to the water they drink. Furthermore, repeated bouts of diarrheal disease create a vicious cycle of malnutrition and infection. A malnourished child is more susceptible to infection, and an infection worsens malnutrition. This cycle is a massive contributor to child mortality in resource-poor settings. The danger of unboiled water is not confined to developing nations. We see this threat manifest in our own communities during natural disasters like floods and hurricanes, when sewage systems are overwhelmed and contaminate the water supply. We see it in the boil water advisories that are issued by municipal authorities when a water main breaks or when routine testing detects E. coli in the system. These advisories are not issued lightly, they are a direct response to a confirmed, imminent health threat. To ignore such an advisory and drink unboiled tap water is to gamble with your health in the most reckless way. Even in the absence of an advisory, private wells can become contaminated with runoff from agricultural fields containing pathogenic bacteria from animal waste, or from failing septic systems. A study by the U.S. Geological Survey found that a significant percentage of private wells tested positive for coliform bacteria, an indicator of fecal contamination. The assumption that well water, because it comes from the ground, is naturally pure, is a dangerous and scientifically unfounded myth. Now, let us turn to the solution, a solution so elegant, so effective, and so accessible that its power is often underestimated. That solution is boiling. The act of bringing water to a rolling boil for a mere 1 minute, or 3 minutes at higher altitudes, is one of the most powerful public health interventions ever devised. The science behind it is beautifully straightforward. Heat is a destructive force for these biological agents. The high temperature of boiling water, 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit, denatures proteins. Think of a protein as a precisely folded piece of origami. This specific shape is crucial for its function, whether it's an enzyme a bacterium needs to metabolize food, or the structural code of a virus that allows it to latch onto a human cell. Boiling water violently unfolds that origami. It shreds the molecular machinery of life for these pathogens. Bacterial cell membranes are disrupted. Viral capsids are shattered. The tough cysts of parasites like Giardia and Crypto are rendered inert. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the world's premier public health institution, unequivocally states that boiling is the most effective method to ensure water is safe from pathogens. It is the gold standard, the benchmark against which all other water treatment methods are measured. Research published in the Bulletin of the World Health Organization has consistently demonstrated that the promotion of household water boiling in communities with unsafe water supplies leads to a dramatic reduction, often by 30% or more, in the incidence of diarrheal disease. This is not a marginal improvement, this is a transformative public health victory waiting to be fully realized in every at-risk community. Unlike chemical disinfection with chlorine, which may not be effective against some parasite cysts and can leave an unpleasant taste, boiling is broadly effective and requires no special chemicals or equipment, just a heat source and a pot. It is a technology available to nearly everyone. Some may argue that boiling water is inconvenient or that it consumes fuel. But I would counter by asking, what is the cost of a child's life? What is the cost of days of lost work due to illness? What is the cost of lifelong cognitive impairment from stunting? The economic and human cost of drinking unsafe water dwarfs the minor investment required to boil it. Furthermore, the flat taste that some people notice in boiled water is simply due to the removal of dissolved oxygen. A simple trick of pouring the water back and forth between two clean containers can re-aerate it and restore its familiar taste. This is a small price to pay for absolute safety. I must also address a critical distinction that is often misunderstood. Boiling water makes it safe from biological contaminants, but it does not necessarily make it pure from chemical contaminants. Boiling does not remove heavy metals like lead or arsenic, nor does it remove pesticides, nitrates, or industrial chemicals. In fact, boiling can concentrate these contaminants as water evaporates. If you are in an area where chemical contamination of the water supply is a known issue, boiling must be combined with a certified water filter designed to remove those specific chemicals, such as a reverse osmosis system or an activated carbon filter. However, for the vast majority of the world, the most immediate, acute, and widespread threat comes from microbial pathogens, not chronic chemical exposure. The priority, therefore, must be to address the killer we know is present in billions of glasses of water consumed every day. The danger of unboiled water is a silent pandemic. It does not make headlines like a novel virus, but it grinds away at the health and potential of our societies, day after day, year after year. It keeps children out of school. It keeps adults out of work. It overwhelms healthcare systems. It perpetuates cycles of poverty. But this is a pandemic we have the power to stop. We possess the knowledge. We have the tool. What we need now is the collective will to act. This knowledge cannot remain confined within these walls or on this screen. It must be shared, discussed, and acted upon. This is where you, every single one of you, becomes a crucial agent of change. You are now armed with the evidence. You understand the microscopic war that is waged in a glass of unboiled water. You understand the profound, life-saving power of a simple rolling boil. Do not keep this information to yourself. Share it with your family. Discuss it with your friends. Teach it to your children. If you are a parent, make boiling water for your infant's formula a non-negotiable ritual. If you are a traveler, let this knowledge guide your choices and protect you from illness. If you are a community leader, advocate for programs that educate about water safety and provide access to clean cooking fuels. Therefore, I call upon you now. Become a soldier in this fight for global health. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because we are committed to bringing you evidence-based, life-saving information like this. By subscribing, you are building an army of the informed. Like this video. That simple click amplifies this message, telling the algorithms that this is important content that needs to be seen by more people, by your neighbors, by your friends across the country and across the world. And most importantly, share this video. Share it on your social media. Send it in your family chat groups. Email it to your colleagues. Do not assume that everyone knows this. They do not. Spread this message like a benevolent virus, a virus of knowledge and empowerment that inoculates against the real pathogens that threaten us. Let us work together to turn the tide. Let us make the drinking of unboiled, unsafe water a relic of the past. Let us ensure that every child, in every community, has access to the most fundamental building block of life, not as a vehicle for disease, but as a source of health, vitality, and hope. The power is in your hands, and the time to act is now. Subscribe, like, and share this message. Let's save lives, together. Thank you.